This week, I meet defense in Race A. Some fantastic racing at the Nurburgring in Race B. And 2 YouTubers crash in Race C. Hello everyone and welcome to the inaugural Gran Turismo 7 weekly race guide. I'm not sure whether these are going to be weekly. It depends on how regularly or irregularly Gran Turismo update it, because they've said it's not necessarily weekly. But we'll see how it goes and we'll go from there. Now, in the background, you can see the first race, Race A. We are at the Alsace test course, which is a brand new course. And we are in some very slow machines. We've got the Fiat 500F, do not pick that. We've got the Volkswagen 1200 Beetle, do not pick that. And we've got the Mini Cooper S, pick that. That is what you want to pick. It's a bit of mini madness here. And let's actually have a look at those race details then. We're racing 6 laps here at that test course in Alsace. It's a grid start, and we're on the comfort medium tyres. We have fuel and tyre wear here, but there are only ×1. Tuning is enabled, which is frustrating as you know. 78 brake horsepower is your limit, and 500 kilograms is the minimum amount of weight. You can put 1,000 in there if you want, but you really don't want to do that with 78 horsepower. Right, I'm not going to be able to show you any settings for this because I didn't tune the car. It's just whatever it was. I just made sure it met the requirements, which is quite a bad thing, as you'll see in the race. There's also timestamps in the background if you want to jump to any other race in this video. But let's head towards that race now, and let's have a look exactly what happened, as well as a lap guide as well. Here we are then with this mini race. Now, you can see I'm on a 106.6. I only did 1 lap, to be fair to me. There is definitely a much lower time in there with this car alone. Now, brake balance is on 0. I don't know if I'm going to keep showing brake balance just because it really depends on your setups in these races. I'll show brake balance when it's bop, but when it's not, I'm tempted to just remove it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you would like to do. As you can see there, different starts for different people just because of settings, etc. I use traction control to start with. Some people will not have used it because they've got the car set up in a way where it doesn't wheel spin. And the 2 cars behind me really struggling. In fact, there's somebody behind them who's in one of the other cars, which is why you don't pick the other cars. But we're going to advance a bit further on here as it all sort of settles down and we have huge gaps as we come into here. Mowgli gets it all sorts of wrong there. And what you really should do is chuck it into here and then use the hill as your brake. Because we've got such low horsepower, the hill will slow you down. You want to chuck it in and then start braking, and the car will just slow all the way down. But anyway, we're around the outside. Happy days. Jobs are good one as we head towards this last corner. And is Mowgli going to go for it? He is indeed down the inside. Mowgli looked. Is he? Oh, he releases the brake a little bit. He leaves space on that inside. Who's going to keep this position? And it's us for now. Well played, Mowgli. Some good bit of racing there. Let's fast forward. We're going to go to a lap guide now. So with this turn, you want to start on the outside and come in. And basically, you want to lift off just before this curb. And then you want to accelerate just as that curb starts on the left. The problem is that it sometimes can go a bit weird, and it depends on setup. But you should have to lift a little bit and then accelerate through the corner. A better setup means you lift less, basically. As we approach this corner, you've got that sign there. So you want to sort of lift. You might have to tap the brake a little bit, but you just want to really lift. You want to be able to chuck it into the corner. And as I said, use the hill. So I'll lift off. I dab the brake a little bit here, a little bit more because I'm carrying a bit too much speed, and then hard brakes up the hill. Notice how much speed we lose here, even when we're not braking that much. So it's critical you use that hill to your advantage. It's where you're going to gain a lot of time. So we'll leave that, and we're going to head down here towards the last corner then. And what you're going to use is what we normally use for most things. It's the start of the curb here. Very nice brake marker here. Now you can take multiple lines here. You can go for a wide line and go for a sort of like a point and squirt out, or you can go for a tighter line and sort of try and abuse the track limits on the exit a little bit. Say track limits, you're not really using them. As we go for a tighter line here. Mowgli went for a more deeper run, but you can see how he lost out there as well. And that is literally the track guide. A full-size test course. There's not very much to it, which is why you can see setups really make a big difference here. So go out, look for those setups. They're out there somewhere. As you can see, we make a mistake this time round. So you're going to bring Mowgli back into play. We've got a yellow flag up ahead as well. I can tell you that is somebody giving up in that Fiat. It's that slow. They gave up. They're just parking there now, just like, why have I chosen that Fiat? Why? As we head up the hill then. Yeah, you can see setups make a massive difference on Race A. You will have to go out and find one. I don't have one, unfortunately. As I say, this is the first inaugural GT7 weekly race guide. I'm sure you can have some good races here in the Mini. Just got to find those settings first of all. So Mowgli makes a mistake there. We're going to go around the outside, which is going to be happy days as we continue on then. And we're going to have a bit of a battle here with Mowgli as we head into Banky Boy. This is like a less Banky Boy at Alsace. But down the inside, Mowgli looks here. Leave a bit of room. And you can see how we're struggling to get this right. Using a bit more of the banking this time. Definitely going understeer into that barrier. And Mowgli just gets it done there. Bit of a weird come over there. And yeah, very odd. But even so, we carry on all the same. In here we go. Again, you can see there how we're trying to abuse it. We don't brake as much. We get it straightened up before the hill. Then slow down using the hill. Mowgli gets it all sorts of wrong again. But we're going to go down the inside of Mowgli. I'm not sure where he's going there. He's coming across really tight. Very odd line, I must say. But so we're still racing. It's fair and clean at the moment. Yes, that's right. At the moment. In towards the braking zone we go once again. And Mowgli on the inside. So just leave a bit of room. As through we go. And we're still keeping that position now. Just pushing us on to the grass now. So you can see how it's getting a bit more rough. And trust me, it gets a bit even more rough in a second. As we go into this left-hander then. Mowgli on the inside. Hits my rear quarter. I think, oh, okay, maybe a mistake again. But no, does it again. And again. But very frustrating at this point. It's like, what are you doing, mate? Come on. That is not fair in the slightest. As we approach the hill then. And I know I can do this hill better, which is why it's a little bit frustrating he did that. So we look down the inside. We slow it up. We don't touch them there. They go wide again. So we're hoping to get the run out the corner. They seem to have better acceleration. That's probably something I can look at in terms of the settings. In terms of settings, by the way, in tunes, I am going to try and start learning them and looking into them because if it is going to go down this route, I need to learn them and we can save them as well on a per track basis. So Mowgli goes defensive here for this left-hander. So I'm going for a wide line to come back to really accelerate through the corner. You can see how much more acceleration we get here. So Mowgli goes defensive, which is fine. So we're going to go left here. Mowgli goes left. And he's just reacting to my actions here. So not really the best driving there. Mowgli said, I'm sorry, I'm stoned. That's not really a good excuse in the grand scheme of it. But we had a good race earlier on. So we'll take that from that. And you can see there the difference between the settings being good and the settings not being good. That's it for race A though. And now let's head to race B, where I do have a little bit of settings for you. But we have a good race as well. Welcome then to the Nurburgring, and that's right, it's the exact same race as a GT Sport. Now, I suspect going forward, where the tracks are the same, they may very well use the same settings because they're very similar here. Let's have a look at those race details then. We're racing 3 laps here at the Nurburgring GP layout. It's a rolling start. However, the rolling start is fixed on GT7. Happy days. And we are on the racing hard tyres. ×1 fuel, ×1 tyre wear. And there are settings again. This time it's 630 pp. Now in the background you can see I'm in the legend. I'm in the Alfa Romeo. So we've got a little bit of an advantage with this car. It seems very powerful in the grand scheme of it. It's 4-wheel drive. Let's have a look at these settings then. So here are my settings I use. Slightly adjusted, nothing major. I'm actually not even at the PP limit. So I really need to change that, if I'm honest. And I probably could have done a lot better in the grand scheme of it. But hey, there we go. We could have adjusted the power slightly. Downforce is quite high, but use those settings if you want. Not much has changed. There we have it. So with this race, you're going to have a lap guide and you're going to see how the racing goes as well. I think you can have some good racing here. I certainly did. Let's jump to that now and let's have a look at exactly what happened. We are then at the start. So there's the grid for you. Make sure of all sorts of cars. You can see the Alphas up at the front. I didn't set a time for this. I could have. And I was matching the Ghosts in the top 10, even with just that basic setup. So very much possible. However, there is an exception to that. Brake balance is 0. And if you notice, we get a nice little camera here. Rather than sitting on the bumper cam, waiting for us to start, we actually get this TV sort of view as we get ready. I like this. I like this. A bit of a change. Bit of a change. You can see our fuel usage there. I wasn't sure whether fuel would be matter for the 3 laps, but obviously it doesn't at ×1. Should have realised that as we get ready around the last corner. As I say, the rolling starts are fixed. Look at this. We're at the back and we're on the straight when we start. So here we go. This is going to show you how powerful this Alfa is. Look at that. We are straight by the German, faster than anything, and we're already catching up to Miko. Remember, we have high downforce on this car as well. So I think some changes may be in order with this car, but even so, down in towards turn 1 we go. Up 2 positions before we even get there. is unbelievable stuff. So we've got Joshua up ahead. What can we do versus Joshua? That is the question. Got Santa Cruz. We've got Liam as well. Liam, shout out to you. I know you follow the content, and you did message me afterwards on Discord. I have read it, and I have responded, or hopefully I've responded by this point. So shout out to you. Here we go then, versus Joshua. Look at the difference in this car. It's night and day different. It's crazy. It's a huge advantage. So if this comes up in the legendary dealership, buy it. Buy it now. As we look down the inside of Santa Cruz then, and of also Fresco 321 in the Atenza, and we get that done as well. We've got somebody off there. Who's that? Mr. Miami. And we've got Liam up ahead. As I say, shout out to you, Liam. Liam goes defensive here. In towards the braking zone we go. Slight tap there with Liam. Oh, we got McLaren sideways. What's that McLaren doing? I don't know. And we've got the Atenza to our right as well. Look at the acceleration change there. And we are going to have that position. Through we go. So we're in the reverse curse P9. Got Liam up ahead. What can we do? What can we do then? So we're heading towards this left-hander. Get towards the right-hand side. Hit those brakes. Flip the apex if we can. Liam just gets it slightly wrong here. So we're going to go for that acceleration on this Alfa, which seems OP as anything to me. And we get the job done. Look at that beautiful stuff. And we're going to keep that position. We're going to head towards a lap guide now. I know we had one for GT Sport. And we're going to have one for GT7 as well. So turn one. The tarmac on the left-hand side. The Alfa, you can brake exceptionally late. So as that tarmac ends, I'm actually braking just after that. But use that as your brake marker for turn one then. Now, you want to clip the apex on the inside. We just missed that. We just missed the curb there. But it's not too bad in the grand scheme of it. As we head up here, you're going to dab the brake a little bit. And you're just slowing the car down enough to clip the curb and then accelerate through the corner. Be careful of oversteer and running wide like that. Heading down towards this right-hander, we don't have the tyre marks anymore. So I noticed that the green AstroTurf changes there, and I could use that. So I'm using that as my reference point here. Whereas I think on GT Sport, it carried on all the way down. Get on the inside here. It's where the grippy stuff is. It will just turn the car. Then a slight lift for this right-hander. And you can go a little bit wide here, but don't go too wide there. Otherwise, you'll get dirt on your tyres. So once again, the same brake marker we always use here at the GP layout. Literally, as the short circuit goes to the right, the end of that, that's what we're using as a brake marker. You want to chuck it in. You want to be really on the inside. Don't touch the curb, but be on the inside there. And then try and get it as left as quick as possible. And literally the last bit of the red and white curb in there, the red, use that as a brake marker and keep it tight for this right-hander. You want to get out of this right-hander as quick as possible because you have a bit of an acceleration period all the way down to the hairpin. We do that absolutely fine here as we continue on down there now. So again, on the right side here, as we approach it, you've got that little shed there. You can use that. You can also use the curbing on the left, but I'm using that shed more and more and more. In the Alfa, you're braking after that shed disappears off the screen as well as we hit the hairpin then. So try and keep it as tight as you can, then accelerate as quick as possible. Use all the curb on the exit there. It's there for you to use. Use it! Now, as we head up to the Schumacher S, just lift this time. It's not flat out in GT7, or not in this car at least. We definitely have to lift there. Maybe a bit of setup work could maybe make it flat out. I'm not too sure. Now, as we head towards this left-hander, you're basing your braking on where that green starts. So the closer you get to it, obviously, the later you're braking. But you don't want to go too deep here. You really don't want to go too deep. You want to clip the inside. I could have definitely going to brake later there for sure. And then get towards the left. And then, again, the tarmac on the right-hand side. As that sort of meets up and ends on the right-hand side, use that as the marker. I'm braking just before that here. Turn in, and you really want to accelerate through this corner as quick as you can. Any lifting is going to slow you down. So we managed to do that just there and just missed the gravel. In towards the chicane then, it's the 100 meter board or where the grating widens up there. Use either of those, that's what I use, and you're going to brake. Now, you're going to see why the times are so fast on race B. As you come into here, people are doing what Renz is doing there. Now, Renz, please don't do that. It's cheating. Anybody else doing it, it is cheating. Don't do it. Now, last corner, white van man's gone. We do have a camper van there, or white van man just at the front of it there, maybe. I don't know. But as those vehicles finish on the right side, that's what I'm using as a brake marker. So as they all disappear, use that as a brake, and then through we go. But yeah, please, don't cheat, guys. Yes, the cheat might be there, but you know that's cheating. So using it, you're just cheating yourself out of good races. Here we go then. The final lap. What's going to happen down towards this first corner then? Again, using that tarmac on the left-hand side as a brake marker. Regnard defending the inside there beautifully in the Evo. Got the Atenza to our left. Now we're going to have some brilliant racing here. Look at this. Got an Evo, Atenza, and the Alfa all racing side by side through his left-hander. Good Good bit of space to the left there by Renz as we go into the left-hander here. Slight tap. That's not Ren's fault there. That's just racing as we go into this right-hander. Again, beautiful stuff here. Side-by-side racing. Brilliant stuff. Look at that. That's the kind of racing I want. I like this. I like this. This is good. This is a thumbs up from me. As we go in towards this left then. Ren's on the inside. I'm going to try around the outside here in the Alfa with that downforce in towards the braking zone then. We get it stopped. Beautiful. As we turn here, we get a bit too much oversteer. And... no, we meet defense. We meet defense. Oh, dear me. What a pleb. But it's not over. It's definitely not over. So, in the distance, I know some of these people are cutting it. They actually all get reset this time round. All three of them, in fact. So, George, again, goes for it because he's cheating for whatever reason. But anyway, we get out of that corner. We head towards this last one. Oh, and a tap there. I was expecting that a little bit. But we survive it, and he does leave space in the exit, so maybe it was just a mistake. As we head towards that line then. It's a P5. I'll take that. P16 to P5 with basically a bog standard setup. Bit of an OP car, but there we go. We had some good racing there. Do check out Race B. I think it's kind of fun. Let's head to Race C then, where the action really begins. Welcome to Daytona then. It had to be Daytona. It's the newest track. It was in all the video footage prior to GT7's release. It was pretty much guaranteed to be the first daily race of GT7. And here it is. Well, arguably, it probably wasn't if you conclude A and B, but it's C. It's the first C. It's Daytona. Right, in the background, Group 3 cars. You can see that. And a lot of Audis. You're probably thinking, is it Bop? Originally it was, but now it's not. Let's look at those race details. We're racing 10 laps here at Daytona. It's a rolling start, but rolling start's absolutely fine. Racing hard tyres only. Times 7 fuel, which is pretty mad. Times 15 tyre wear. And then settings-wise, it's 542 brake horsepower and 1,350 kilograms. And obviously, you can adjust the settings how you see fit, as long as you are in those requirements. Now, I chose the Audi because... why wouldn't I choose Audi, obviously? But I also chose Audi because it was the main car on the leaderboards, except for Aura's Lamborghini. Now, I've used a combo setup here, so I'll go to those settings now. This is Key's setup, Key 25. Check him out on YouTube, of course. And this is a very good setup. I've also used Priano's gear ratios from GT Planet. So check out Priano on GT Planet. It has a whole tuning shop there with lots of different settings. So a combo there all together. This is what the car I got out of it. It's fairly stable in the grand scheme of it. It likes to turn in a bit more. It reduces some of the understeer, and the stability is sort of there. So it's nice for everybody. I think the downforce is different to Keys if you want to use that downforce. Anyway, enough car settings. Let's jump to this race then, because we have some famous faces in this one and a few little plebby moments and crashes as well. Here we are then at the start. And famous names. Look at this. We've got Key. We've got Ollie. We've got SuperGT. A mixture of all sorts. Obviously, Quinton in pole there. We've got Aura in that Lamborghini in P2. So, at the start, make sure you put your fuel map to 6. It'll save you a tiny bit of fuel. You can do that even when the grid's on. Just whack your fuel thing up. And, yeah, you're just saving that tiny bit of fuel that you may need later on. So, we've got to try and get to lap 5. That is when we are pitting. You probably could get to lap 6 in the Audi, to be honest with you. Will was going to lap 7 in the Mazda, which you will see shortly. I do wonder whether there's a way to not pit. Gotta be honest. I suspect there might be, but we've got to figure that one out. Anyway, here we go then. So we kick off. P8. This is my first race and only race I've done of Daily Race C so far as well. So I wasn't sure what to expect here. And I literally came into this knowing it was a fuel race based on the warm-up, which was 20 seconds. So I knew I had to save fuel, so I was just going to take it easy, take my time, just make sure I stay in the slipstream train. And that's all I had to do. And that's what you should do as well. Make sure you are in that slipstream train. That's so hard to say. My word. We'll just call it the train for now. And that way you will save even more fuel. So you can see I'm short shifting as well. And I will also use the fuel maps throughout this. So my main goal here, stay with the train. We've got Ollie, as we saw, just behind me. SuperGT just behind him. As we head towards the chicane. This is probably the deadliest part of the circuit. We've got fuel map 6 here. So if you're on the TGT, when you want to change this lift off, it will change automatically. If you don't, it will be funny. So we take this very steady here through here. Ollie takes it a bit quick and I think has to avoid me slightly there. Gets all sideways. SuperGT hits him and they both enter the realm there. The Shadow Realm has 2 new entries, including its leader there of SuperGT. But yeah, it's one of those. With that chicane, be careful. It's better to be careful and be aggressive, especially in the first part, because you want to be aggressive in the second part, because that's where the acceleration is. So, here we go. Fuel map 6. So we're just saving that fuel here. You can see it up ahead. Some people are going for moves, some not. It's a bit of chess and strategy here. What do you do? What do you do in each little bit of the situation? As we see somebody off there. Who is that? It's Xiaoblin 91. They've just gone off there. Oh, we gain another position there. Free of charge as we head up towards the chicane once again. Again, just take it nice and easy. Oh, the driver behind gets it all sorts of wrong. They're off. And they lead the lobby as well. Oh, we get it wrong there as well on the exit. Got to be careful of that on the exit. Now, in time trial, people are cutting that chicane massively on the exit. So you just got to be careful of that. I wouldn't do it personally. I didn't do it. There's a 44.5 in there without doing it as we go for the move then on Pavel. So here, playing chess again. I'm trying to get past. Trying to get past. Don't quite get past here, so I have to back out of this. Being the car on the outside, it is one of those where you just have to give up the place as we come through here. And that's what people are doing up ahead. If they get it wrong, they just cut the grass entirely. So, yeah, don't do that, folks. Don't do that. So, fuel map 6 again. And you can see some action now. Key going past MB03. Pavel in there as well, trying to get an advantage. It's all to do with chess, this. Where can you gain the advantage? Where can you not? And it looks like Key has got ahead. And we fit in this train then. Although it's going a bit slow for my liking. So I'm going to look down the inside of Pavel, who tries on the outside. That doesn't work. We're on the inside here. We have an overlap. But they just close us off a bit too much there. We try and push them back. And yeah, it turns into status quo. But they'll lose that gap to MB03 and Key. Just close the gap a bit too much there, in my opinion. I was on the inside. They did go for the outside one. But it's all good. We carried on. And here we go with the racing again. So fuel saving, as always. Fuel map 6. All the way to the chicane. We're then going to let off around here. We'll see how TGT plebbed itself this time. As we come through here then, trying to get the chicane right. And Pavel gets it all sorts of wrong. That's another entry. That chicane is going to take so many people this week. That could be the new chicane of death, you know. Even though there's no walls, it is taking people. And we're fuel saving once again in towards this turn. And let's see what happens as we keep nearly into the pit wall there. That's sort of predicting the future a little bit here. So, we head towards the pit, flat out, because that's realistic. But even so, into the pits we go. We're going to refill, not all the way. And, yeah, 46 seconds for a pit stop there. And Key's got a penalty. That was for cutting the chicane earlier on. I think he had a mistake, which is why he caught up a little bit towards that pit entry. 46 seconds, a long pit stop. It's why I'm thinking, is there a way to make it so that your car is so fuel efficient you could get to the end? And you know what? I might try and see if I can figure something out there. But here we go then. So Key's going to take that penalty. We're fuel map 6. So I'm sort of in the middle of no man's land now. No man's land here. But we have had a good race so far. As we see, Fusa has caught up now. I've been trying to save fuel on my Todd because I did under fuel a little bit here. And in we go here. And I pit wall it like a pleb. Like an absolute pleb. I couldn't believe when I did that. I was like, oh no, here we go. So Key goes past that as well. I had to leave the gap open there. Just keep it straight. So we come through here. Again, I'm trying to keep it as stable as possible as we accelerate out. Oh, a little bit of oversteer. I had to lift. And unfortunately, that means we lose the slipstream there of Key, which is a bit unfortunate. However, MB03 got it wrong as well. So we are going to get back in that slipstream which means we're in the action for the final lap, where we're also going to have a lap guide for you as well. Of course we do. We would not get rid of that lap guide as we head then towards the start-finish line. And as you head towards turn 1, you're looking on the wall here, on the fence, because there is a flag indicator right there. When you see that, you then want to prepare yourself for the corner. So I normally start to try and point straight after this. So I'll let off a little bit, point straight, and then brake. As you see there, I'm pointing straight, a little bit of a wiggle, but straight, all the way to the outside, then back to the inside. Now, it gives you a good line out the corner. Be careful of a bit of oversteer there. Be careful of the bumps through here as well. The stock setup especially, the car could get loose. Head towards this right-hander. I'm using the 1 and the cones. There is a wagon you can use, which is yellow on the left-hand side, but you can't see that at night. So I'm using the 1 and the cones here. There's a bit of a reference to where the corner is. And you want to keep this tight, and you want to just roll the car through here a little bit. You want it to get rotation, accelerate out. Be careful of the bump on the exit. That will cause a bit of oversteer. You really want the car to hunker down before you accelerate through that corner. Right, the kink is flat out, although I lift a little bit there for some reason, not sure why. It is flat out, and as you head towards this braking zone here, that black line there on the left-hand side, just as you pass that, you're going to then hit the brakes. You want to take a sort of an outside line, then back in, not too wide, like up ahead by MB03, and then slowly progress the throttle there because it can get sketchy. As we see, Will has had an issue there heading in towards this last corner. I'm aiming to try and get as close as I can to that curb there. Now, you can't always get there. We can get there a little bit here because we were, we had to compromise the previous corner. But you want to get as close to that. And you want to keep it tight here so that you can then straighten up as fast as you can and just bolt, accelerate out the corner. And that's what we do there. So we're in the slipstream here. It could be a very close finish, this, that is for sure. We've 3 cars up ahead. One obviously not in slipstream, so the rest of us will be in it. But we do have to keep an eye out on that fuel. So the chicane, we're going to call this a chicane of death now, I think. As we head to the bus stop chicane here at Daytona. So I'm using the 2 to lift off. And then I've got a flag indicator and the 1. I'm braking in between those 2. Now, I try and keep it in 4th gear just so I can have a bit of stability here. So I'm braking between those 2. And as I come in, I release the brakes, straighten the car. I dab the brakes when I'm straight and then balance the car as much as I can with the throttle, accelerate through. We saw Key and Fusa head to the realm there, both off. So it's now a race for P4 with MB03. So I go up to the high line here because I'm wanting to get an advantage. So I've got a bit of a comeback on the straight so I get the momentum off the corner and go for it. But they saw that coming, so I get on the inside quickly. They don't have that momentum, and we're going to have a massive run towards the line. We've got 5% of fuel, so I didn't have to save as much as I did on that last lap. And boom, there we go. We get it done. What a race there with MB03. Shout out to Key as well. That was a brilliant one, and for his setup as well. It's a very good setup, that. So do check him out. SuperGT and Ollie there as well. It's good to race them. See Ed Williams, Quinton, congratulations. Oh, so awesome to be in this daily race. I've not done a daily race like this in quite a while. That's it for this week, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed this GT7 inaugural weekly race guide. Well, that is it for me. There are 2 videos there. If you need some money to buy some GT3 cars, check the quick money out. But otherwise, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content and like on your way out. Thank you once again, and see you around, and good luck.